welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this, it is the first day of 2016. I thought it would be nice to have a little sit-down chat and talk about some of the highlights in 2015 as well as some of the low points and what I'm looking forward to most about 2016. So let's start with books. I had a love-hate relationship with reading this year, which is weird for me because I love reading. But after I graduated college, I had a really hard time adjusting to reading for fun rather than reading an entire book in a week to learn a whole bunch of information for a test. I'm getting better. I'm starting to read more and more and enjoy it and read a little faster rather than finishing one book every 6 months. The best experience I had with a book by far was my experience with the Mark of the Lion book series by Francine Rivers. I only got through the first 2 books and then had to take a break before the third, which I still haven't read, because the experience was so overwhelming. I needed time to think. The first book is A Voice in the Wind. It is followed by An Echo in the Darkness, and then As Sure as the Dawn, which is the book I have yet to read. I highly recommend this series if you're looking for good, clean fiction, as well as something that will challenge you and benefit you spiritually. These books are so faith-based that they could honestly be historical add-ons to the Bible. I watched all of my normal TV shows this year, Walking Dead, Once Upon a Time, etc., etc., and they were all amazing. But the 2 shows that were standouts for me this year were Stalker and Zoo. And if you're shocked, I understand, because I'm weird, I get it. Stalker technically started in 2014, but it started in October, so it really got going in 2015. And I loved this show. It was very controversial because it dealt with strictly stalking crimes. And I get it, that content is graphic and hard to process. But for me, maybe I'm just weird, but I use crime shows as a tool to prepare for the unexpected. I would rather be an itty-bitty bit paranoid than be totally unprepared. That's just how my brain works. I was so upset when they canceled it. I wasn't surprised, but I was hoping they wouldn't get rid of it, and I signed every petition known to man to save it, but it didn't work. The next show is Zoo, which is based on a book by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. The show is obviously about animals. It's called Zoo. Basically, the animals are sick of how they're being treated by humans, and they have turned on the humans. There is one puzzle piece that solves how all the animals around the world connected and communicated and just turned on all mankind. Season 1 was left on a cliffhanger, and I don't know if it's been renewed yet. I think it might have been renewed for season 2, but honestly, if they don't make season 2, I will die, because this show came out of nowhere. I had heard about it just by chance, and I looked on demand because the show had already started, and they were the first 5 episodes, and I just binge watched until I was caught up, and I needed more. Next is my favorite movies of 2015. There were some great movies. The last Hunger Games movie came out, and it was fantastic. The latest James Bond film came out, Spectre. That was amazing. 2 Marvel movies came out, Ant-Man and Avengers Age of Ultron, both great. Please keep in mind that I did not see a ton of movies this year. There's some big movies that I still have not seen. But the 2 movies I loved the most were Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Man from U.N.C.L.E. is set in the 60s, and I believe it's based on an old television show. and I just loved the vibe of it. I love the 60s, first of all. So the time period and the fashion, I was just like drooling over. How the story goes with these two agents from opposite sides of the war working together, and their humorous banter is just, I loved it. And Star Wars The Force Awakens doesn't need words. It doesn't need a description. It doesn't need me to tell you why it's the best. It just is. Moving on to serious topics. My saddest moment happened in April. Me and my mom left Texas after 13 years and moved to California to join my dad and brother, who had already lived here for a couple of years. It was really hard. Honestly, when my dad got a job in Texas and we all moved there, I was upset. I missed California so much. I hated Texas, and there wasn't a day that went by when I didn't say, when are we going back to California? When my dad told us that he had gotten a job in California and we were going back, I broke down. And he was surprised. He thought that I, out of everyone else, would take the news and run with it and be super happy, but I wasn't. It was so hard. I was really emotional. You know, I was in college at the time, which was stressful enough, and then thinking about a move and leaving my friends and all the people I had made connections with over a period of 13 years, that was really hard to do, and I'm still struggling with it. With all the tornadoes that occurred right where I used to live in Texas, it's been really hard, and I know it sounds strange, but I would almost rather be there struggling with it alongside my friends there. And my heart and prayers are still with them. My most shocking moment this year happened at work. I witnessed my first crime. I struggled for a week, having nightmares of what could have happened, blaming myself. Thankfully, everything has died down, and life goes on. Moving on to my happiest moment, which goes along with my saddest moment. Even though it was hard to leave Texas, it was such a joyous occasion for me and my mom to finally reunite with my dad and brother. We had been separated for 3 years due to me finishing college and my mom staying behind to help me out. A couple other happy moments were finding a house. Finally, after living in a tiny loft for a couple of months, my family found a house. We got to go to Orlando, Florida for a little over a week for our first family vacation in like who knows how long. And then after our vacation, I found a job quickly. And I'm still at that job. So those are a couple other happy moments. 2015 was a year of change and a lot of emotions. And what I'm looking forward to most in 2016 is settling into my new life, settling down. That's what I'm looking forward to most. Hopefully things in my new state, my new home, my new life start to feel more comfortable and normal. Feel free to leave comments down below and tell me all about your 2015 and what you're looking forward to most in the new year. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. I will see you in my next video. Bye!